I was hoping that my next video would be my final thoughts on The Catcher in the Rye. It's so stupid when I say it out loud. But you know how everything always goes wrong when you're like the least in the mood for it? So it's usually the internet. You you crack open a cold, you come home from a hard day of work and you crack open a cold one and you just want to sit down and watch something. Or you make a bunch of pizza pockets. You make a bunch of pizza rolls and want to play Call of Duty with your best friends, and the internet goes out, and you're like, I got these hot pizza pockets, and the internet goes out. So I'm coming off of 4 days of a migraine. Dry rot levels high. Dry rot level high this week. And I'm like, I feel good this morning. Let's finally do my final thoughts on my final segment of my Catcher in the Rye video. My software that I use to record my vocals. What's it gonna be? What I use to record my audio is not working. So I'm in here, I put on the full makeup. My hair is up way too tight so I can get rid of my forehead wrinkles, and my DAW, as they call it, isn't working. So I troubleshoot it for hours, and now I'm not on. I'm not on to do to do something like that. It's too late in the day for me to be on. So, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna do episode 2 of Weekly Rot Report. Have some thoughts down. Hopefully it's enough. I don't know. Hopefully, maybe I can come up with this hair is... First thing I want to talk about is that I canceled Spotify. I canceled Spotify and I canceled Netflix. That useless Netflix account I was getting with the commercials. It's $9 with the commercials, and you can't even get everything on it. So like stupid shit that I would want to watch. What's it called? That Dakota Johnson movie with Sean Penn. Couldn't watch it, even though it's a Netflix. Isn't that a Netflix original?
No.
They wouldn't let me watch it. I couldn't watch. Everyone was talking about It Ends With Us. I'm like, let's see. Not included with the subscription. Some kind of whatever licensing issue. I think the last thing that I really watched on Netflix was the UK Love Is Blind. And then I tried any season that came after the US version, and I can't stand it anymore. Nothing beats season 2. I skipped season 1. Amber and Barnett are my worst nightmare. They're my worst nightmare. I skipped season 1 and went to season 2. Shake is one of the best reality show villains of all time. Love season 3 too. And then after that, I couldn't really do it. So, do you know how much money I am saving by canceling Spotify and Netflix? It's $28. $28 a month. So, Kevin has been trying out Apple Music for like 2 years now. I didn't realize it's been so long. And he's like, hey, I'll get the account so that I can add you to it. So, are we really saving $28? Not really, but girl math. YouTube, you can get YouTube Premium Lite for $9. So I'm thinking about that. But also, I talked about watching movies by means. Do you get what I mean? When I say I watch movies by means? And I talked about I wanted to watch Red Rooms in the last video. I was able to find it, but foreign films are tough because you can't always get subtitles. So what I was thinking is, now that I'm saving $28, if there's a movie that I can't find by means, I have $28 to play with to just rent a digital copy of something. Do you know what I mean? Now, so I rented Red Rooms for $4. I thought it was kind of steep. $4 I thought was steep for a digital rental. $4 well spent. I couldn't get a good read on what kind of movie Red Rooms was. I was under the impression that it was a psychological thriller, which it is. But then I saw some screenshots from the film, and I was like, is this spooky? This looks kind of spooky. And it said horror on the genres on IMDb. So I was like, this might be scary. It's scary, but it doesn't show you anything. The movie manages to scare you without showing you anything. But it's very good. If you It feels very literary fiction to me. If you like Otesha Moshfegh, you will like it. So the only thing that I think I'm going to miss from Spotify is that they have the audiobooks. And I found like a bootleg, somebody made a bootleg audiobook for The Catcher in the Rye that I found on Spotify, and it was the best audiobook I've ever listened to. So I think that's going to be the last favor Spotify ever does for me. Yeah, I have a hard time finding audiobooks that I like. I know I couldn't do a good audiobook, I know. But a lot of times I'm like, this voice should not. No. Charli XCX. The new stuff isn't working for me. I don't think this isn't working.
It's pretty straightforward. The guitar shit, it's it's a little stock.
How do I say this? Brat was very low effort. And it's like the artwork was low effort, but it was very when you dug into it, it was really heartfelt. It had a lot of meaning to it. And a lot of women were listening to it and being like, "Me too, Charli." And there were still bangers on it, still club bangers, but it was all still cohesive. It told a story. I loved Brat. I'm not even like the biggest Charli fan. I thought Brat was an absolute, just a complete work of art. Now, the new stuff. I don't think she could still be doing the low effort. This feels even more low effort, and it just really feels like her taking the piss. You know? And I don't know why I was under the assumption that the whole album was going to be called rock music. She was like, "I'm making rock music." And I was like, sweet. So I envision the song rock music comes out and I'm like, this sucks, but I get it. I understand what she's doing. This is going to be the album opener and it's supposed to suck, but it's supposed to be the bridge from Brat to rock music. And I thought she was really going to make a rock album. She can get freaking Trent Reznor on this album. She could get Josh Freese to play drums on it. Like it was going to be her Bring Me the Horizon, That's the Spirit, or kind of a thing. She totally could have gotten Bring Me the Horizon on the album. Like that kind of stuff is so hot right now on TikTok. I think she could have done it, but instead she's making this like really lazy. It's like one step above Lou Reed. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I'm not into it. But speaking of Bring Me the Horizon, Kevin was watching, there's a YouTuber called Nick Nocturnal. And Nick Nocturnal got Ali Sykes on to do an interview, which is very cool. So Bring Me the Horizon just re-recorded their first album from 2006. And he tells a story that he's got this car. It has a subwoofer in the back. It's just souped up sound system.
Huge subwoofer in the back of the car. We used to listen to, I remember like All Shall Perish, Wage Slaves. I remember it just sounded like insane on that.
Yep.
And he puts the CD in for the first time, and it's a first time, last time for Ali Sykes. Ali Sykes listens to this album and he's so disappointed with how it sounds. He hates it. So they're re-recording it. And there's been all this talk about like, 2006 is the mid 2000s are back, or like scene is back. But I think now it's really back. I think Bring Me the Horizon are the ones always creating the trends. They're in front of the curve. Now they just completed the trend cycle. They went from being metalcore, I guess you would call them, maybe a little bit heavier than metalcore, and then they went a little bit poppy. They had Halsey on the album and, electronic, and then everybody else started doing that. Now I think we're getting True Form. True Form is back. They had their keyboard guy. He's not in the band anymore. So, back to True Form. Now I think we're going to get real heavy.
Who turned the heavy back on?
But I think Charli XCX could have squeezed in a Rocktronic album. I did my nails and I hate them. Do they look too chunky? What else do I have on here? Aspect ratios. Red Rooms was in a different aspect ratio. It was. Not fully 4:3. And also Obsession was in a different aspect ratio. I think people are doing cozier aspect ratios. Myself included. And I watched this video on the remastered versions of sitcoms are losing something by stretching out to the 16:9 aspect ratio. And there was an interesting, like, the Always Sunny podcast that Charlie Day was talking about how he wishes the show was still in 4:3 aspect ratio. Shows like Seinfeld, they're losing something by stretching out. Like the old sets used to be too simple. And he was talking about how what is New Girl gaining by being in a widescreen format. It was interesting. So I talked about this in a video that got scrapped. So it feels like I showed it to you guys, but I really didn't. This is a drawing that I did when I was a senior in high school. It's a lot of years ago. But it was the beginning of me using microns. You can see very little bit of pointillism in there. So I remember this being like such a breakthrough piece for me. And I started doing these moths with the eyes. And I had this big mandala that I did, and I never got that project back. It was in a show at a local college. It had the moths with the yellow eyes, and it had these beetles, and I think bird skulls. I had a bird skull necklace that I used to wear. I used to be so rock and roll. But I pulled it out when I started this one. So this is finished. I hate the bad quality for showing artwork, but I'm calling it. I'm calling it. Is it finished? I don't know, but I'm calling it because I'm sick of looking at it. Because honestly, it feels a little bit stale. I think it looks like Taylor Swift. Like, if you imagine I put some fuck-ass bangs on her, I think it looks like Taylor Swift. Kevin said it looks like Brie Larson. Which I think Brie Larson does wear her hair like this sometimes. But I see T Swift. Do you see how much Taylor Swift is killing the environment with her private jet? That's cool. That's cool, Taylor. I think it was Anthony Fantano's subreddit that someone posted how many times Taylor Swift has rhymed car with bar. I think it's 7 times. There are seven songs where Taylor Swift has rhymed car with bar. All right, thanks for watching. My battery's gonna die.